人の顔を見るなり逃げ出すとは。なるほど。確かに臆病なコリスだ。
So last week, my friends, we talked about the secrets of the Silent Witch during the episode 1 premiere, and it was incredible. It was so good and so charming. I think that's the main word we're going to use is charming. And it definitely charmed me. It was something that was just really unique. A unique concept about this girl who has gone through a lot of like abuse and turmoil and socialistic things to where like her social anxiety is at like a 12. And I love when there are certain characters that, one, are depicted realistically, but then two, are depicted in something that's far and away from me. And sometimes that works for me, and sometimes it just doesn't, because there's certain situations and characters that I find myself hard to not engage, but like kind of empathize with. But this one I could definitely understand on how she got here, especially when a lot of her suffering and turmoil and mental blocks happened when she was younger. That is something that both you and I can agree that will carry with you for life. And it takes a lot to undo that. It takes a lot of goodwill, good people to undo that. Regardless, all of episode 1 was just incredible. And what ends up happening when you have an incredible episode 1 is when it follows up with 2, it goes in 3 directions: up, down, which is usually the more often than not, or just kind of keeps that momentum. But I think episode 2 was even better than 1. First off, we got to learn more about how kind of Monica got this way. We see that she spent time with, originally I thought it was her dad, but she was spending time with somebody who was a researcher, just kind of like how she is now. So a lot of her hobbies, a lot of her number crunching, love for numbers, the way she got to where she is based on who she spent time with when she was a little kid and looked up to. Originally, I thought that was her dad, but at least we find out kind of, where she got some of how she got there. It could have been dad, it could have been grandpa, unsure, but somebody close to her was, kind of similar vibes as she is, loves numbers, loves research, stuff like that. Then we kind of see that at some point, she was like in a dungeon or in like a prison or in like an addict, and she was being abused. And based off the scene, it looks like abused by her dad. And she was basically abused into being silent. And that has kind of caused her turmoil through the rest of her life, because that is some serious stuff to happen for somebody so young. So this episode really kind of set up who Monica is as a character. Then it introduced us to a few characters. It introduced us to Felix the Prince. It introduced us to her potential new friend in Lana, which is the girl who was doing her hair, who she slowly opened up to, which I thought was really cute, especially somebody who was reaching out first and kind of getting little bits and pieces out of Monica. And I love that. I think she's a cute, adorable character, and she's relatable because she is a noble, but the way she got to noble status was based off her family buying their way into nobility, which most folks do anyways. It's just that transaction was so far back that their lineage is just kind of carried over time. But regardless, I'll digress. So they've recently done it. So she's kind of viewed as like a lower than noble. So she has more similarities with somebody like Monica, who is not of necessarily noble origin, but her accolades got her to where she is. They introduced us to, I don't know what her name is, but introduced us to a girl in the medical place, the infirmary. And she's like the head of the medical something. But she's going to be, you can tell she's going to be another important character. Then it introduced us to 2 other characters which are boys in the student council. One has brown hair, which he's kind of been the one to keep calling her a squirrel. And the other one, it has white hair. We don't know much about him yet. I think his name is Cyril. But Isabel kind of gave us the 1-2 punch on him, but we don't really quite know who he is yet. But by the end of the episode, we got all of this information, and then we got her through different events, with the prince falling on her, and with the prince trying to get assassinated, and with her practicing things, saying thank you with the cat. By the end of the episode, they were like, are you the assassin? And obviously she's not. But now she kind of committed to go and finding the person who's trying to take the prince down. And she basically landed in that situation. So The episode and the journey was just so fun. And those moments of being a squirrel and Monica's reactions and the nuts that fell out of her pocket and the cat harassing her and her constant thinking of her coworker or, the other mage guy that's going to come and get her, like that puts her in precarious situations. The fact that she saw the brown haired kid hid inside of the curtains, and he's like, oh, look at that nervous little squirrel. It's just funny moment after funny moment. It's the cute funny, and it just really gets me. So overall, really, really fun episode. Definitely one of the best anime for sure of the season. I think this was a 9 out of 10. This was just a really enjoyable, on purpose episode, and they nailed it, I thought. So I'm loving the characters, I'm loving the story, I'm loving the plot. Just everything 2 episodes in, absolutely fantastic. One of the best new anime of the season. And hopefully, I don't know if a lot of other people are talking about it, but hopefully it gets more notoriety because this one has been a pleasant surprise. So yeah, anyways, Monica Everett, fantastic. The Silent Witch, fantastic. Episode 2, fantastic. So let me know all you guys' thoughts in the comments below. I'm sure there's some that don't feel as strong as I do. Put that down in the comments below and let me know how you guys are feeling about it. Even if it's negative, put it down in the comments. I definitely appreciate you guys. And we'll be back next week for episode 3. Peace out, my friends.